Two-time F1 champion Max Verstappen has chosen his ideal driver lineup. Verstappen was asked to choose only from the current drivers on the grid, and he was not allowed to choose himself for either a driver or a team principal role. So, who did Max choose? Stay tuned to find out. The question posed to Max Verstappen about his ideal Formula One team is, of course, purely hypothetical. As a double champion driver with a strong desire for continued success, Verstappen is currently focused on his own driving career and has no interest in managing or owning a team on the grid. Despite this, Verstappen was happy to ponder what he would do if he were in such a situation. In a playful video clip uploaded by Mobile One The Grid, the Dutchman was asked to share his thoughts on who he would select to fill key positions within his team. Regarding selecting a leader, Verstappen did not have to think too hard or for too long. Verstappen chose his current Red Bull boss. He said, "Of the current people who are capable of being the team principal, I would also go for Christian Horner." Picking drivers is arguably much more tough, given the wealth of talent currently on the grid. It was clarified that he could not choose himself, but that still left him with strong options, such as 7-time world champion Hamilton and his current teammate Perez. But Verstappen overlooked both of them and decided upon a shrewd mix of experience and youth. He said, "I find that really hard, the drivers, because I think there are a lot of good drivers. I would probably go for an experienced one, so I would go for Fernando Alonso. Then I would also take a young guy, and I would put Lando Norris in the car. Yeah, Fernando and Lando." The question is likely to forever remain a hypothetical one, given that Verstappen has already made it very clear that he has no interest in one day leading a team. When Max was asked if he would like to become a team principal one day, he replied, "No, not in Formula One. I also like other types of motorsport, such as endurance racing. Formula One has taken up a big part of my life for a long time. We have to travel a lot and there will be even more races in the future." That's when the question comes up whether the pursuit of even more successes is worth spending so much time away from your own family and friends. Fernando Alonso is the oldest driver on the grid, with the longest career making his debut in 2001. Lando Norris has become a fan favourite for his dry sense of humour, and many are backing him to bag his first F1 win in the upcoming 2023 season. Hopefully, he will have a competitive McLaren to be able to get to the top of the podium. Interestingly, Verstappen did not go for his teammate Sergio Perez for the other seat on his team, or rivals Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. You're enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on other amazing videos. So all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. Why did Max choose Lando Norris? According to his team boss Zak Brown, Lando Norris is as good as anyone racing in Formula One right now. The Brit is only 23 years old, but already has several years of experience in F1. More than that, he has been largely impressive during his first few years racing in the sport and is regarded by many as a future champion if given a car capable of competing for the title. McLaren Chief Executive Brown has long been aware of Norris's talent. Before he made his F1 debut, he took part in the 24 Hours of Daytona as a teenager, driving alongside Fernando Alonso and fellow Brit Phil Hansen in a United Autosports entry. It gave Brown a chance to assess how Norris compared to one of F1's most talented drivers in recent decades, and only further reinforced the American's belief that he had a special talent on his hands. Recalling that event, Brown made the bold claim that Norris's talent matches anyone on the current F1 grid, including Alonso. He said, "I think he is as good as anyone on the grid, and I've felt that from day one when I put him against Fernando in the 24 Hours of Daytona. Foreign car, foreign track. I think Fernando is as good as any F1 driver there's ever been, and Lando matches him. And depending on what time of day it was, maybe he even got him a little bit, and vice versa. You see the natural talent. You do get some drivers who are a one-make discipline, and you throw them in a unique situation and they don't get up to speed as quickly." Norris is still yet to prove that he can turn that talent on the track into race wins. He has come close on several occasions, but is yet to stand on the top step of an F1 podium. Despite that, Brown is confident his driver will break his duck sooner or later and feels he can get the better of some of the other bright young talents on the grid. He added, "Lando's one of those guys, if we put everyone in a dirt buggy and we put all the F1 drivers in a race, he'd be at the front because he's got that kind of natural talent. He's a total star, and he's pushing us. He wants to be winning races. I'm sure he knows he can beat George Russell, and he has beaten George before, and he goes out and wins. He's going to be anxious people he's raced with don't get too many more wins before he starts getting his." Why did Max choose Fernando Alonso? If you followed F1 before about 2015, you know Fernando Alonso better than all but 2 or 3 drivers on this grid. The 32-time race winner made his name by beating Michael Schumacher and Ferrari to 2 world championships in 2005 and 2006, then stayed a crucial part of every championship season through 2013. Fernando Alonso had an impressive showing in the International Formula 3000 Championship in 2000, followed by a stint with Minardi in 2001. This led to a test and reserve role with Renault in 2002, and he was promoted to a race seat the following year. In his F1 debut season, Alonso secured his first race win for the team, and he continued to race with them through their championship-winning years. However, he left Renault for a short-lived partnership with rookie Lewis Hamilton at McLaren, where both drivers finished a mere point behind championship winner Kimi Raikkonen. Alonso then returned to Renault for an even less successful two-season stint, which was tainted by the Crashgate scandal in Singapore. The scandal resulted in the team's leadership being effectively banned from F1, but Alonso managed to secure a coveted seat as Ferrari's lead driver. During his time with Ferrari, Fernando Alonso fought for championship titles for 4 seasons but was unable to clinch the victory, coming up short of Sebastian Vettel by varying degrees in each attempt. A relatively weak 2014 season led to Alonso's departure from Ferrari and his return to McLaren for a second stint, which ultimately proved to be the most ill-fated of his runs with a prestigious team. During this time, Alonso was the face of the team's downfall, which had actually begun 2 years before his arrival. As the most famous man on a once great team, Alonso was unfairly burdened with much of the blame for the team's struggles. And McLaren began a winless streak that lasted until the recent past season. Ultimately, this difficult situation led Alonso to exit F1 entirely by 2018. During his second to last year at McLaren, Fernando Alonso skipped the Monaco Grand Prix to run the Indianapolis 500, igniting an interest in the world's greatest races. This led him to attempt 2 more Indianapolis 500s, only one of which ended in a start, as well as an attempt at the 2020 Dakar Rally. However, his interest in these races most significantly led him to Toyota's LMP1 program, where he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans twice in a TSO 50 with co-drivers Sebastian Buemi and Kazuki Nakajima. The trio went on to win the FIA World Endurance Championship in the 2018-19 Super Season, which encompassed both races. Alpine came calling when Daniel Ricciardo left before the 2021 season, leading to Alonso's third stint at the program. He won 2 championships with when it ran as Renault. He stayed with the team for 2 seasons, most notably helping teammate Esteban Ocon win a race in 2021 with some excellent defensive driving. While Alonso did not beat the younger Ocon in the championship standings in 2022, as he did in his first year at Alpine, his 2022 was still a clear success. He finished 9th in the championship, while Ocon finished 8th. That was enough for Alpine to secure 4th in the Constructors' Championship, a best-case scenario for a team with a car incapable of fighting for wins. Alonso scored points in all but 8 races, with a best finish of 5th on 3 separate occasions. He also beat out Ocon in head-to-head qualifying battles, 12-10. His best starting position of the season, 2nd in Canada, stood out as his individual season highlight. Altogether, it was an impressive season for a 41-year-old against a currently successful pro, now being trusted to lead the Alpine team on his own. Fernando Alonso is no doubt the most experienced driver on the F1 grid. Now over to you. What would be your own dream F1 driver lineup? Let me know in the comment section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.